Tales of cursed and haunted objects have been around for as long as humans have been able to tell stories. While most people may not believe in the supernatural, there are some artifacts that have a history so dark and mysterious that even skeptics can't deny their eerie presence. From an ancient oak tree covered in huge rusted chains to a diamond that brings death to its owners, here are the 15 cursed artifacts that have yet to be explained. Let's start off this list with number 15. The Goddess of Death statue. If the first question out of your mouth upon seeing this is, what am I looking at exactly? The best answer I can offer is, I don't know. But what is known about this eerie limestone statue is its unnerving reputation. Crafted around 3500 BC and discovered in Cyprus in 1878, the figure earned its name not from appearance but aftermath. Every family that kept it suffered deadly misfortune. The first owners, 7 family members, all dead within 6 years. The second, Ivor Minucci, gone, along with his household, in just 4. The third family didn't fare much better. Several members passed before the last 2 survivors came to their senses and gave it away. They donated it to the Royal Scottish Museum, where it remains untouched. Not admired, not promoted. Just shelved quietly like it might still be listening. No clear answers exist about what this statue is or why death seems to follow it, but no one's in a rush to take it home and find out. Number 14. The Chained Oak. This ancient oak tree near the village of Alton, Staffordshire, England, is undoubtedly one of the scariest looking trees you'll ever come across. Just look at that. Covered in huge rusted chains, it looks like something straight out of a Gothic nightmare, like it once walked on its roots, dragging people into the woods before someone finally pinned it in place. That visual aside, the real story behind it is just as grim. The legend goes that the Earl of Shrewsbury, returning to Alton Towers one night, refused a coin to a beggar woman. She responded with a curse. Every time a branch from the oak fell, someone from his bloodline would die. That very night, during a violent storm, a limb snapped, and by sunrise, a family member was dead. Terrified, the Earl ordered the tree to be chained, hoping to stop the curse mid-swing. The chains are still there, iron links rusting into the bark like scars. The branches haven't been allowed to fall since. Number 13. The Dresden Green. This extraordinary and rare pear-shaped stone weighs in at 40.7 carats and is named for the capital of Saxony. Its deep green color doesn't just make it unique, it makes it unsettling. The Dresden Green is believed to have come from India and ended up in the possession of Frederick Augustus II, son of Frederick Augustus I, also known as Augustus the Strong. Augustus spent years amassing rare treasures, and this diamond was one of the crown jewels of his collection. Though not as famously cursed as others, its history is closely tied to political unrest, war, and quiet misfortune that shadowed every royal who wore it. The stone now resides in the Albertina Museum in Dresden. It was once displayed next to the Hope Diamond at the Smithsonian, a pairing requested by legendary jeweler Harry Winston. He claimed only the Dresden Green could rival the Hope in mystique and allure, but while one screams its curse, the other just sits quietly with it. Number 12. The Hope Diamond. It's one of the most famous diamonds in the world, so maybe this isn't so surprising. Wrapped in velvet and lit from above, the Hope Diamond always draws a crowd. But beneath its deep blue shimmer lies a list of names that reads more like an obituary. This 45.5 carat stone, believed to have originated in India, passed through hands like fire. Every owner, dealer, or admirer seemed to meet some form of ruin, financial collapse, suicide, violent death, or insanity. French royalty, English bankers, American heiresses, it didn't discriminate. The pattern is long enough that even skeptics started whispering. Some say the diamond was stolen from a cursed statue originally placed in a temple dedicated to a Hindu goddess. Others believe the gem is simply unlucky, its weight not in carats but consequence. After decades of fatal headlines, the diamond was donated to the Smithsonian, where it now sits under glass, unmoving, unclaimed. No one on Earth dares wear it. The sparkle remains, but the glamour faded long ago. Hope sometimes kills. Number 11. The Terracotta Army. Okay, so maybe this one isn't so much cursed as it is the harbinger of a cruelly unjust situation, but I'll let you decide. In 1974, Chinese farmers digging a well stumbled across one of the world's greatest archaeological finds, thousands of life-sized clay warriors built to protect China's first emperor Qin Shi Huang in the afterlife. What followed, though, wasn't glory for the discoverers. Instead, the government took over. The land was claimed. The farmers got nothing, no recognition, no payment, not even the dignity of keeping their own village. Locals had long believed disturbing the tomb would bring bad luck. And sure enough, their homes were leveled to make way for tourist shops. Some of the farmers died poor and anonymous, while others watched everything they'd known vanish under concrete and commerce. So maybe the army isn't cursed in the supernatural sense, but it certainly delivered ruin to those who brought it into the light. Now if someone tries to disturb this dude and his army, the rivers of Mercury will do the rest. Number 10. Okiku. This thing is totally weird. This doll, according to legend, belonged to a little girl from Hokkaido, Japan. Like most stories of this kind, the girl died young, but unlike most, she apparently never really left her favorite toy behind. When her family relocated, they entrusted the doll to the monks of the Menenji temple. Since then, the doll, Okiku, has reportedly been growing real human hair. Not a one-time fluke, but continuous, living hair that has been studied by scientists and confirmed to be of human origin. Some visitors claim to see her mouth beginning to part, her eyes shifting ever so slightly, even teeth sprouting from behind her lips. The monks still care for her, trimming the hair periodically, and insist she is more than a relic. Whether a grieving spirit or something older clinging to porcelain and thread, Okiku remains a quiet, unsettling presence inside the temple walls. You can visit her. Just don't stare too long into her half-open mouth. Number 9. The Tallman family sips haunted bunk beds. Well, you don't expect children's furniture to be haunted, but in the case of the Tallman family from Horicon, Wisconsin, that might be the only explanation. Once they bought used bunk beds for their kids, things spiraled fast. The children began seeing a fire-eyed old woman standing by their beds. Doors slammed themselves shut. Radios are turned on with no one near them. The father was visited by a shadowy figure who told him he was already dead. Terrified and desperate, the Tallmans fled the house, setting off a frenzy of local rumors. News vans rolled in. Neighbors whispered about the haunted house of Horicon. Eventually, the family destroyed the bunk beds and buried the remains in a private landfill where no future house could be built. They believed the evil had latched onto the wood itself, whether from some cursed forest or a darker past. Since then, no other paranormal incidents have been reported in the house. Whatever haunted those beds, it stayed buried with them. Alright guys, now let's talk about Number 8. The Dybbuk box. Despite the fact that the seller of this wine box seemed terrified of it, and the buyer experienced really weird stuff once it entered his antique shop, he gave it to his mother, who had a stroke the moment she touched it. After that, no one wanted it. He tried passing it off to other family members, but it kept coming back. When he finally took it home, the nightmare escalated. The owner began dreaming that an evil presence was hiding inside his loved ones. Then his sister visited and described the exact same dream, down to the details. Shadows danced at the edge of his vision. The stench of cat urine filled the house, despite there being no cat. Eventually, the box was locked away, but the story lived on. He wrote a book about it, which inspired the horror film The Possession, starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And while it became pop culture material, the original box still exists, still sealed, still avoided, possessed and stinking as ever. Number 8. Valentino Sepp's ring. Rudolph Valentino started off as a dancer, but quickly became a huge star in silent films like The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse and The Sheik. While shopping at a jewelry store in San Francisco, Valentino purchased a silver tiger's eye ring. The shop owner warned him it had an evil history, but Valentino didn't care. He wore it on the set of The Young Raja, which turned out to be a major flop. Later, while promoting Son of the Sheik, he wore it again and collapsed shortly after. He died not long after that, just 31 years old. The ring was assigned to his lover Pola Negri, who became seriously ill. She survived and passed it on to singer Russ Colombo, who was shot days later in a freak accident. It then landed with Joe Casino, who kept it locked away for years. When he finally wore it, he was hit by a truck the same day. Whether cursed or not, it definitely picked its moments. Number 6. Portrait of Delphine LaLaurie. The evils perpetrated by notorious New Orleans slave owner Delphine LaLaurie have been discussed many times on Listverse, quite rightly singling her out as one of history's most evil women. It is no surprise then that the unspeakable crimes she committed have catapulted her into the realms of dark folklore and urban legend. In the 1990s, residents of an apartment building built on the very site of LaLaurie's mansion decided to improve their shared space with some local art. So they commissioned New Orleans artist Ricardo Pustanio to paint a portrait of a well-known local figure. Instead of jazz greats or Southern icons, they went with Delphine herself. The finished painting hung in a shared hallway. It didn't last long. Residents began experiencing terrifying encounters, cold spots, whispering voices, and objects falling. Some claimed to see LaLaurie's reflection moving on its own. Eventually, the painting was removed, covered, and locked away. Well, the lesson from this story is pretty simple. When decorating a hallway, maybe skip the mass murderer and go with a cheerful vase of sunflowers. Number 5. The Darya-e-Noor Diamond. This diamond has some other romantic names. It is also referred to as the River of Light or the Ocean of Light. This pale rose-colored diamond weighs 182 carats and is one of the crown jewels of Iran. It was discovered in India and remained there in the possession of various Mughal emperors until it passed into Persian hands. Among the royals who claimed it was Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar, who wore it as an armband, reportedly believing the gem carried divine power and imperial legitimacy. Other rulers used the gem in ceremonial clothing or regal headpieces, but when not in public view, it was locked away deep within Golestan Palace. Unlike many infamous diamonds with violent or cursed histories, the Darya-e-Noor carries its own weight, not in death, but in the quiet authority of power, conquest, and pride. While it's no longer worn, it's preserved today in the Iranian treasury of national jewels, behind glass but still glowing softly with the ghosts of centuries past. Number 4. Myrtle's Plantation Mirror. Fitting for one of the most haunted houses in the country, this mirror is said to hold the spirits of members of the Woodruff family, killed by a slave named Chloe. That's probably not true, but visitors do report seeing drippy marks on the mirror, the reflection of women dressed in old-timey clothes and handprints. The house itself was built in 1794, and since then at least 10 murders have occurred there. The mirror is said to hold the ghosts of Sarah Woodruff and her daughters, allegedly killed by Chloe, who baked them a poisoned cake. While no evidence confirms the story, the mirror refuses to behave. Drips run down its surface that can't be cleaned off. Handprints appear when no one's touched it. Ghostly figures drift across the reflection, always just behind you. Maybe it's Sarah. Maybe it's one of the many others who died on the property. Or maybe it's the ghost of whoever used to be stuck cleaning the damn thing. Either way, it's staying right there. Number 3. The Shah Diamond. This diamond was discovered in India around 1450, and it has become a potent symbol of royalty, war, and political power across centuries of Indian and Persian history. Weighing in at 88.7 carats, the Shah diamond is best known not just for its golden hue and clarity, but for what's carved into it. 3 Shahs, each a ruler who at one time claimed it, left their inscriptions etched directly into its surface. Shah Jahan, the same emperor who built the Taj Mahal, called himself ruler of the world in his engraving. That empire fell, and so did each subsequent ruler who tried to possess the stone. After a Russian diplomat was killed in Tehran in 1829, the reigning Shah offered the diamond to the Russians as a peace offering. It was a move of desperation, a literal gem of submission. The Soviets accepted it, and the diamond has remained in Russia ever since, stored in the Kremlin's diamond fund far from the land where it was born. Number 2. Chair of Death. The story goes that in the late 1600s, a man named Thomas Busby fell in love with Elizabeth, the daughter of a counterfeiter named Daniel Awady. The lovebirds were married, and Dad was none too pleased. That, however, didn't stop him from involving his son-in-law in his business, and the two would often drink together. Busby liked to drink. He and his bride lived in a little inn, and one day her dad came to take her home. With no explanation, Elizabeth refused to go anywhere until her husband got home, so Elizabeth's dad sat down to wait. He sat, as it turns out, in the wrong chair. When Busby returned, he and Awady got into a huge argument. Awady argued that no daughter of his would be associated with the town drunk, while Busby argued that Awady was sitting in his favorite chair. Busby later killed Awady, and before his execution, he cursed the chair. Over 60 deaths have been blamed on it. Now it hangs on a wall, out of reach. Number 1. The Sancy Diamond. The Sancy is 55.23 carats in size, and it has a distinctive pale lemon yellow coloration. The diamond's origins are murky, though it's believed to be of Indian origin. It gained notoriety when King Henry III of France wore it atop his cap, a bold choice considering he wore that cap to hide his balding head and had a reputation for vanity. Later, Henry IV borrowed it to finance military campaigns, only to have it go missing in transit. The diamond was eventually found inside the stomach of his courier, cut open during an autopsy after the man failed to arrive. The Sancy was passed around from king to king, crossing French and English royalty like a cursed token no one could hold onto for long. After centuries of war, betrayal, and bloodline collapse, the diamond now rests in the Apollo Gallery at the Louvre. It sits under glass now, but its long, brutal journey is carved into royal memory and buried deep inside polished stone. If you've enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.